Welcome to SVG-TV News for Wednesday, March 6, 2019. I am Rochelle Batiste with the details. Infectious disease specialist Dr. Josie Davey said while there is no new confirmed case of dengue in the country, the public must be on alert against the mosquito-borne illness. The advice comes as several countries in the region, including the French territories, have reported an increase in cases of dengue. In an interview with SVG-TV News today, Dr. Davey said SVG recorded one confirmed case in December last year, and since then no other case has been recorded. Highlighting the preparation for a possible outbreak, Dr. Davey said health professionals' best bet is to treat the symptoms of those who are infected.
Hoping that there's no outbreak, bearing in mind, and I always remind persons that dengue is endemic to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, meaning that year-round we always have dengue fever, but not many cases and not complicated cases. But in the case of an outbreak, remember that there is no treatment per se for dengue. It's just monitoring the signs and symptoms and alleviating people of these signs and symptoms. So if there's headache, we treat that. There's fever, we treat that. And of course, most importantly is dehydration. So if the persons are dehydrated, then there are sufficient amounts of IV fluid that we can place these persons on. If you have rash, if you're vomiting, if you have abdominal pain, that may indicate some complication and indicate that you need to really come to the doctor before it's too late. So we can take care of you and administer IV fluids.
Dr. Davies said dengue can be deadly if a person contracts what is termed as complicated dengue.
Dengue has 5 known serotypes, so there's dengue 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 doesn't really cause much of a problem in human beings. I think in the past we've had type 2. There was another one, but I'm not so sure whether it was 1 or 4. But we've had 2 strains confirmed here previously. What happens with complicated dengue, or what we call severe dengue, a person may have had 1 serotype of dengue in the past, and then they acquire a second one. And because the immune system so smartly wants to defend us, it starts attacking this new virus very ferociously. But in so doing, the factors that our blood produces to attack this new virus that's entering ends up destroying our cells and making us very ill and cause more bleeding on the inside. So that is how someone can have severe dengue if they were exposed to another dengue virus before and they get a new one. Because what happens if you get, let's say, dengue 1 and the mosquito bites you with dengue 1 again, you may not get sick or get a very mild form of the disease, and that's because the immune system remembers this dengue 1. That's just an example.
The infectious disease specialist is encouraging the public to take all the necessary precautions to prevent against mosquito bites.
Well, persons at higher risk would be those who are out in the woods or the forest. So let's say veterinary workers, farmers, people who like to do the recreational stuff, so they're hiking and they're there. So they have to remember to protect themselves. You wear long clothing, long sleeves, long pants if you're going out into the bush, as we would say, and you wear insect repellents. For those at home, you have to remember to clean your surroundings. So make sure that there's nothing that's accumulating water. So your vases, your septic tank must be sealed. The guttering around the house, make sure that it's free from water, because these mosquitoes, they don't need a lot of water to breed, to reproduce. And of course, you know, you can spray out your houses. When you see the persons from vector control coming to fog, you keep your windows open. I know persons are annoyed by the smell, but if your door is closed, if your windows are closed, then the fog can't kill the adult mosquito, and that's what we want to happen.
There continues to be new ways criminals are conducting their activities, and the country's passport and immigration department must be proactive to protect the nation against these elements. So said Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves as he addressed the opening of a 2-day border security workshop for immigration officers under the theme "Forging Ahead with Determination." The Prime Minister said the immigration department is empowered with the laws of the land to prevent some someone wishing to do harm from entering the country. He said it is important for the department to keep up to date as criminals continue to evolve with their activities.
I tell people to the question of money laundering. When I went to law school 40 odd years ago, we didn't study anything about money laundering. If you look at the Extradition Act, the Extradition Act in this country, which was updated before we came to office, updated last in the mid-1970s or thereabouts, didn't have an offense for extradition in relation to money laundering. Now you have that. So there are new types of criminal activities which have taken place, which you have to be alert to in terms of who you allow in. And you can't do the work by yourself. You have to work with the intelligence arm of the police. You have to work with the trafficking in persons. When you have any serious doubt, you call on them.
The Prime Minister further told the immigration officers that their work can also directly save lives.
And help save somebody here from getting killed if you stop a potential murderer. Because as you know, we don't live on Mars. Sometimes there is a temptation of persons here who are involved in whatever conflicts they're involved in and controversies, usually over drugs and unrelated matters. And they want to get somebody to come in with the requisite skill to silence that person permanently. So you have to be able to make your judgment.
The Prime Minister, who holds a portfolio as Minister of National Security, urged the immigration officers to do their utmost to ensure that the right persons are issued with even-sanctioned passport.
People put different names on the birth certificate, they spell them differently, you know. The father name is not on. The person who made the report may know that the mother is Mavis, but when they find out she don't know whether it's Mavis John, Mavis Tucker, Mavis Brown, Mavis Francis, or whoever, or whether it's Mavis at all and not Beatrice and Elizabeth, and all of these things. And then, you know, the father's name is not on the birth certificate, but the father is dead, and they complicated. The person went away when he was young. He come back for the first time when he's a big grown man. He get a travel document to leave Trinidad or Barbados or wherever, you know. And then Curacao has its own rules, and Aruba, and I mean it's some of it could be highly complicated, and we just have to go through them in accordance with the principles, in accordance with the rules, always wanting to facilitate people to get the passport, but at the same time we have to make sure that somebody is not trying to beat the system.
The participants at the border security workshop were sensitized on topics related to the role of tourism, customer service, protocol, profiling and screening, human trafficking, and the CARICOM single market and economy. President of the National Garifuna Heritage Foundation, David Daki Williams, is not too pleased with the level of participation by Vincentians in the Heroes and Heritage Month activities. Annually, March is observed as Heroes and Heritage Month, and a number of activities have been planned for the month. The cassava competition slated for today was postponed. However, the next event on the program of activities is the 5th annual Schools Garifuna Folk Festival, which will take place this Friday at the Victoria Park. Williams said while the schools and community groups have been doing their part, it has been a difficult task in getting a wide cross-section of the Vincentian public involved with the activities.
From the school's point of view, yes. From the public point of view, there could be greater participation from the public. But I think because conferences and so on are something that Vincentians have to cultivate the appetite for. And right now, I don't think the nation is totally there yet. Of course, there are interests in the Garifuna culture and the heritage and so on, but sometimes people just can't make it out to some of these events because they have other schedules, work, school.
Williams said that he is aware that more has to be done by the foundation to get Vincentians to participate in cultural activities, especially during the month of March, and that they are open to suggestions from members of the public on how to get more persons on board.
We have tried a number of things that we have eventually put aside. Some of the events we have now, we probably will have to drop them, but there are some events that we may have to reconsider. But for now, they continue to be part of our schedule. Now, we welcome ideas from anyone and any place. And once there is an idea that we can work with, we certainly will try it.
One of the highlights for the National Heroes and Heritage Month activities is the 6th Garifuna Conference to take place from the 11th to the 13th of March. SVG celebrates Heroes Day on March 14th, a national holiday. On this day, a number of activities are planned for several communities, including Greg's and Fancy. The election petitions oral submission got underway today in front of Judge Stanley John at the National Insurance Service conference room. Petitioners' lawyers Stanley Starkey John and Keith Scotland were the first to make their submission today. The respondent's lead attorney, Douglas Mendez, made his submission this afternoon, followed by Anthony Astafan, who was accommodated via Skype. The oral submissions will continue tomorrow. The submission is expected to assist the judge at arriving at a decision expected to be handed down on March 21st. The Kettles Government School today reopened its library thanks to the support from the non-profit organizations Hands Across the Sea and the Mustique Charitable Foundation. 7 students were trained to be student librarians, along with parents and residents who volunteered to work in the library after school hours. The cutting of the ribbon to mark the reopening of the library was done by former principal of the Kettles Government School, Albina Jack Samuel. Senior Education Officer Joycelyn Blake Brown said that reading is very important for the development of children and appealed to the teachers to do everything they can to encourage the students to read more.
And we all know the importance of literacy, being able to read and write. But not just being able to read and write, you know, boys and girls. To be critical thinkers, to read, to learn, to research, to learn about the world, to improve your academic abilities. You name it. So I am so pleased that the staff at the Kettles Government School, we know that your staff is an experienced staff, and as a matter of fact, you are so privileged in consideration to other schools. You have at least 6 teachers, 7, I'm corrected, 7 teachers, including your principal, all who have degrees in the area of literacy. So, yes, that's very good. So you are very privileged. But we don't just want to boast about degrees. We want to boast about the fact that students at Kettles Government School are reading at their levels and above. and are doing well academically. So we would like to see that all of the teachers embrace literacy instruction, that you put everything in place to ensure that your students receive a balanced education in literacy, that your students, that you, I should suggest, undertake a whole school approach to literacy development. And you'll be surprised that in the end you're going to see a mass improvement in your overall school improvement.
Blake Brown said that the Ministry of Education is also doing its best to help develop the literacy level of students across the country.
We already have in place the Early Learners Program. This particular program focuses on students from kindergarten to grade 3. We also have the Zero Hunger Trust Fund. Zero Hunger Trust Fund, we have sponsored 12 schools, and we have also employed 12 teacher coaches in grades 1s and 2s, in the early grades again, because we recognize the importance of capturing the students early, of placing appropriate intervention so that the students' reading difficulties are corrected by the time they get to grade 6. And I know that many of your teachers would have attended numerous workshops. One thing I know about teachers, they love to attend workshops. But we don't just want them to attend the workshops. We want them to implement the different strategies and activities so that our students will just grow, will just mature, and will grow up to be literate citizens so that they will eventually become lifelong learners. Students, once again, I really want to encourage you to read, read, and read. Don't ever get fed up of reading. I know that there are lots of things out there that are more attractive. But you know, you can use your smartphones, use your tablets, you can have e-books or download.
The senior education officer also thanked the donors and others who have been contributing materials to develop the literacy skills of the nation's children.
All of our donors, our partners in education, and at the same time I would like to appeal to the business sector, not just in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, but right here in the community of Kittels. You have heard what the head teacher said. More work needs to be done to get the furniture, to get the AC, to get whatever else. You know, hands across this, you cannot do everything. So we are expecting that your business community will come on board, parents, teachers will donate. And we're not just asking for whatever you can give, we are also hoping that the parents, you are going to support your students at home, monitor their reading activities, monitor their schoolwork, homework, so that all of our children will be very good students, and at the end of the day we will see overall school improvement at the Kittels Government School. So once again, let's hear it for all our partners, our donors, our parents, and even you, the students, who are really going to take on this library. Thank you.
The students of the Kittels Government School presented the representatives of the Hands Across the Sea and the Mustic Charitable Foundation with token of appreciation for their work in promoting literacy in schools across the country. The students also showed their appreciation by displaying their talent to the representatives. Project Director of the Mustique Charitable Foundation, Dulari Malcolm, encouraged the teachers and students to make good use of the books in the library.
Once we have the opening of the library, you all will see the effort that was put in by Hands Across the Sea. These books that you have received, I had a meeting with Harriet yesterday and I got a bit more information on the whole process. And they have put in a lot of thought into these books. These books are not just geared for the teachers to teach the students. These books are geared to get the children interested in reading. These books cover topics that are of interest to our children of today. It's not books with topics of the old days, from our days when we grew up. So, teachers, I would like for you all to ensure that you all utilize these books and get the interest of the students. What we're trying to do here is you have to try and find the passion of each of these students. They're not all going to be interested in the same thing. So ensure that you utilize the wide range of books to identify what's the passion in each child. And I take this opportunity to congratulate Kittel's Government School on the opening of your new library.
Co-founder and executive director of Hands Across the Sea, Harriet Linsky, told the students their reading ability could help the Kittel's Government School achieve a lot, including securing the first place position at the Caribbean Primary Exit Assessment Examination, CPEA.
I really want to see Kittel's Government School a lot like Petit Savan Government School. Where's Petit Savan? That's in Dominica. That's in the southern part of Dominica. The village is condemned now, unfortunately, because of Tropical Storm Erica. But that school was #1 every year on CPEA in Dominica. How did they do it? They were a rural school. They had a library, and every single teacher in that school made sure their children had library books on a weekly basis. And the parents really got involved. This school also could be a lot like Millet. Where's Millet? Millet Primary is in the exact center, geographically, of St. Lucia, in the middle of the rainforest. Millet Primary was one of the top primary schools in St. Lucia on CPEA because they have a library and they have teachers who really care and they have a community who really cares. So I would love to see in 2-3 years' time Kittel's Government School be the top primary school in St. Vincent for reading and for CPEA.
An award ceremony will be held this Friday to recognize the schools that participated in the 2018 National Schools Gardening Competition. The initiative was a collaborative effort between the Rural Transformation Unit in the Ministry of Agriculture, the Food and Agricultural Organization, the FAO, and the Government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The objectives were to encourage the application of STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics to agriculture, to create an interest in agriculture among students, and to present a tool that could be used to enhance teaching and learning. Friday's award ceremony would be held at the Fisheries Conference Room from 9 in the morning. Minister of Agriculture Saboto Caesar is expected to deliver the feature address.